What's going on, guys? This is going to be a fairly quick video, but I wanted to give you a little intro to this before I get into it. Now, first of all, this is my girlfriend's car, okay? 2014 Ford Escape, 2-liter Ecoboost VIN 9, okay? All-wheel drive. I have been fighting this parasitic drain, because I haven't had time to actually get it into the shop and do anything with it, because you know how that goes when you're working on your own stuff. We fix everyone else's stuff, but we never fix our own stuff, right? So needless to say, the battery was wasted in it, the alternator wasted in it, and I had this parasitic drain after doing the alternator and the battery, okay? And, I mean, when I say parasitic drain, I mean like 15 to 17 amps when you first hook up the battery, and then drops down and levels off at like 5.9 amps or 5.5 amps, okay? Now, I spent a whole Saturday in my driveway trying to isolate this draw. I went out on Identifix, top hits, and I found hits for the rear wiper motor. It's not the rear wiper motor. That was replaced a while back when she blew out the back window backing out of the garage, okay? Anyways, I plucked every damn fuse in this car. Every fuse, okay? Looking for this drain. I did voltage drop on every fuse in the car, to include the higher current, the higher amperage ones, like 30 amperes and the 40 amp. But these Ford Escapes have that high voltage fuse box that sits in the front of the battery, and you guys all know, doing a battery on one of them, they're just great. But nevertheless, there's those high, you'll see it in the video, okay? I did not check there. I found one hit, or two, I think 2 hits out on Identifix that we talked about, they had a draw in there. Anyways, doing an alternator on one of these things is not cheap. Now, I knew the alternator was spanked from having a bad battery for God knows how long. So I don't know if this was like a 2-part problem or what. But all I'm going to say is it's under warranty, so I'm not too concerned about it. But had this been a customer's car and they were paying for the diagnostic time and all that, I don't even know. I'm just glad it worked out the way it did, okay? I learned a lot from this car. Now, I could have threw a bone out there, a lifeline out there, and probably got an answer from someone. But I didn't, okay? I'm kind of glad I didn't, because sometimes, getting your rear end kicked for a while, you learn some stuff. Anyways, I wanted to give you that little quick intro before we get into it. I'm not making this video to help out. Well, it probably will, but this isn't designed to give you a quick fix, silver bullet fix for your parasitic drain on these, okay? There was a lot of testing involved before I came to this conclusion. And it's not a car you want to just be winging parts at. $635 for an alternator. Okay? Now, I confirmed the alternator was faulty, and I just replaced the battery sensor, the negative cable right away. It's just been my experience that Fords have problems with them, and they have problems with their alternators, and they have problems with their batteries. So usually when you get to 100K and they're having issues, this one was, the alternator was dropping out to 2.25 volts with a new battery. It just wasn't charging, wasn't putting out the amperage, and given that the battery cable was original, I just replaced it with the alternator, okay? I'm not even going to take the risk. But after that, I thought, okay, everything's great, right? Well, then all of a sudden, the battery goes dead. Like, instantly. Just like, it took like maybe 10 minutes and like had slow crank again. And I'm like, what's going on here? I start checking, that's when I was like, you know what? I'm pulling this battery. I had to pull the battery back out to recharge it. So I pulled the high voltage fuse box apart, and that's where I found my draw. So you have any questions, drop them down. But again, this video is designed for technicians that are struggling. I don't want you guys to fall down the same rabbit hole or like make bad calls, okay? Do your checks. I got my rear end kicked by this thing. I was scratching my head. I'm not gonna lie. Now, the other thing I'm gonna mention on these is you have to go into your BCM. Okay, you have to go into your BCM, and you have to go into I think it's functional, or is it functional tests? I don't know. You got to go in there and you got to do, when you replace the battery on these Escapes, you got to reset the battery life monitoring system, okay? And then you also got to do the relearn on the left, the driver's window, you know, like you do on a GM, okay? So anyways, you have questions, drop them down, but hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Real quick video, guys. Sorry, camera lens is fogged up. I got my low amp clamp on this violet wire right here in this high amp high current fuse box. You can see I'm clamped around that violet wire right there. Now that's an 80 amp fuse, and the battery in this Ford Escape. This is you know, our car, but nevertheless I've got it in here under warranty, and this thing's got a wicked battery draw. Let me show you just how bad this battery draw is. Now I'd like to show you all the checks I did to get to this point, but I don't have that kind of time. So make sure this amp clamp's on. It is. You can see now key is off, engine's off. Look at that draw. 15 frickin' amps, guys. 15 amps, okay? Alright, now, if I let it sit for a while, it'll drop down to like, it stabilizes at around 5 amps, 5.5 amps, okay? And I know it's this guy, okay? Because if I take it off, and let's see here, we'll go around the green one. Now I went around every wire, but boom, no draw, right? Okay, so I amp clamped all these wires, and that violet wire is the only one. So let's look at the wiring diagram for power distribution on this thing. Let me show you. It's for the electronic. It's for the supplemental heat system. Now this is not for the turbocharger. Trust me, I got confused on this. This is this thing is called the electronic booster heater. Okay? If the interior temperature has been set to high, or if the heater controls have been switched to the highest setting, or the air conditioning system sends an electronic booster heater on request signal to the BCM via the medium speed CAN, the BCM controls the electronic booster heater with a pulse width modulated signal. The BCM activates the electronic booster heater depending on the following parameters: ECT temp, ambient temp, and then of course sufficient generator capacity. The electronic booster heater electronics activates 3 output stages depending on the pulse width modulated signal from the BCM. The output stages switch the 3 heating elements of the booster on-off individually, allowing the heating periods of the individual elements to overlap. Due to the variable switch-on duration, continuous variable temperature control is possible. Anyways, I got interrupted. I apologize. This video is going to be all over the place, guys. I've never ran into this problem before, but let me go back. Now, I think I found one hit out there on this, on Identifix, but I couldn't find where it lived. It took me forever. That's the guy right there, okay? Now I found this. You're able to access it, and it's cooking right now, trust me. So I was reading you the description, I think. Yeah, right here. So the heating elements of the electronic booster heater on-off individually, allowing the heating periods of the individual elements. Variable switch on duration, continuous variable temperature control is possible. The overall heating is proportional to the pulse width modulated signal. Signal is 10% or above, 90%. Electric booster heater is not activated. The electronic booster heater is deactivated when an engine temp is 158 ambient temp exceeded. So it's got 3 heating elements and a microcontroller. The microcontroller allows 3 PTC elements to be activated or deactivated together, pulse width modulated from the input from the BCM. So let's let's go find this thing. Well, first, let me hook this back up. I'm gonna have to recharge this battery because it's got a wicked draw on it. Alright, let me get in there and I'll get you back. Alright, so I got the glove box out, but if you look, hopefully you're gonna be able to see this. No, you see that red and that black? That's going to it. So that box right there, that black one right there, you see the red and the black going into, that is the heating element. That's what's causing the draw. Now if I touch those two, the heavy red and the black, they're cooking. Now look right there, you'll see the violet and the black coming into it, okay? So I'm gonna hook around one of them, that red one. Alright, I'm hooked around that red wire with my amp clamp, and we're drawing, what, 6.9? About 6.9 amps. Okay, so I want to disconnect it because it's pulse width modulated from the BCM. So I'm going to disconnect its controls and see what happens. Alright guys, so you see the yellow and the blue? There's the connector. I'm going to disconnect that. Alright, she's disconnected and she's still drawn, so we're done right there, pretty much. I mean, I can disconnect these power feeds, but I know the draw is going to go away. Now, this thing is just cooking, guys. I mean, cooking. So, I'm going to have to get one from Ford. But that one right there, that one kicked my rear end, so I'm not going to lie. Anyways, thanks for watching.